before the first spark of human fire, before the first stone tool chipped against another, before the first myth carved into memory. There were giants. The earth once belonged to them, in an age older than imagination. Dinosaurs. They ruled for over 160 million years, longer than we have existed by 2 orders of magnitude. Their bones lie beneath us, their shadows stretch across every museum, their extinction is taught as inevitability. But let us dare to ask a forbidden question. What if they were not only beasts? What if, in the forgotten ages of the earth, before our ancestors even crawled from the branches, the dinosaurs themselves built? What if they dreamed as we dream? What if they built cities? Imagine it. The world of the late Cretaceous, 70 million years ago. Tropical forests stretch across the continents. Seas lap at shores that no longer exist today. Herds of massive herbivores roam the plains. Predators stalk through ferns taller than men. And in the shadow of this prehistoric wilderness, not just beasts, but architects. Picture vast cities of stone and crystal, crafted not by primates with fragile hands, but by reptiles with scales and claws, by minds evolved along a different branch of intelligence. Towers rising above the canopy. Roads paved across swamps and rivers. Domes glittering with mineral glass. Smoke from furnaces curling upward, mingling with the volcanic haze of the ancient earth. The beating of wings in the sky not only from instinct-driven flight, but perhaps from airships fashioned by claw and thought. We recoil at the thought because it feels impossible. Dinosaurs, we are told, had small brains, limited intelligence, no tools. But consider how narrow our assumptions are. Intelligence does not wear a single mask. The octopus can solve puzzles and escape cages with no skeleton at all. Crows can craft hooks from twigs. Dolphins communicate across oceans. If these creatures, with their small brains and alien bodies, can show sparks of problem-solving and culture, then what might 160 million years of evolutionary experimentation have produced? Compared to the brief flicker of our own species, dinosaurs had an eternity to experiment. We have built cities in less than 10,000 years of civilization. What might have risen in 10 million or 50 million? Think of a child drawing shapes in the sand with a stick. The gesture is simple, but it is art. Now imagine a creature larger, longer lived, with instincts we cannot fathom. Perhaps they shaped stone not as we do, but through methods lost to us. Perhaps they grew their cities as coral grows reefs, cultivating living architecture of bone and mineral. Perhaps they wove their dwellings from crystal lattices or fungal symbiosis. To imagine dinosaur cities is not merely to imagine humans with scales. It is to imagine intelligence along an alien path, shaped by different senses, different bodies, different priorities. And here is where the analogy breaks. For when we imagine civilizations, we imagine ourselves scaled up or down, reflected back at us. But a dinosaur intelligence might not crave fire or metallurgy. It might not measure time in the same way. It might not need straight lines or steel towers. To them, a city might be a living forest designed with intention, guided growth rather than brick and mortar. Roads might be waterways. Homes might be burrows, chambers expanded with precision. A metropolis might look, to us, like nothing but wilderness. We might walk through the ruins of such a city today, unable even to recognize it as ruin. This is where the question deepens. If dinosaurs built cities, where are they? Where are the ruins, the artifacts, the echoes of their age? But consider again the wheel of geology. 70 million years is not 1,000, or even 10,000. It is an ocean of time. Mountains have risen and crumbled. Oceans have opened and closed. Continents have drifted thousands of miles. Even our skyscrapers, left alone, would be dust in less than 1,000,000 years. In 70 million, nothing would remain but fossils, and even those rare. Stone monuments would be ground into sediment. Metal would oxidize, dissolve. Plastic would vanish into chemical traces. The only evidence left would be subtle, disturbances in strata, odd concentrations of minerals, anomalies in isotopes. The Earth is a master eraser. And here is where the speculation gains teeth. In 2018, scientists Gavin Schmidt and Adam Frank asked a provocative question in the International Journal of Astrobiology. If there had been an advanced civilization on Earth millions of years ago, could we detect it today? Their conclusion was sobering. After millions of years, nearly all traces of industry would vanish. The fossil record is incomplete. The crust recycles itself. Detection would be nearly impossible. This is called the Silurian hypothesis, named after a science fiction tale in which reptilian civilizations predated us. It is not a claim that dinosaurs built cities. It is a thought experiment. And the answer was clear. If they had, the Earth could have hidden it. Pause and sit with that. If entire civilizations could rise and fall, leaving almost no trace, then how can we be sure the dinosaurs did not? How can we be certain we are the first? And if we are not the first, then we must imagine what those others might have been. Were they hunters of knowledge, sculptors of stone, riders of storm and sea? Did they dream of the stars as we do? Did they too look upward, wondering if they were alone? Or did their intelligence take a path utterly unlike ours, one we cannot even comprehend? If this possibility awakens something in you, if you feel the strange pull of imagining forgotten ages and secret civilizations buried beneath time, then follow me further. Because the questions grow stranger the deeper we go, and the next path may lead us somewhere even darker. To imagine dinosaurs building cities is to wrestle with two kinds of evidence, what we know and what we cannot know. Science tells us that dinosaurs were diverse, that they flourished for 160 million years across every continent, adapting to every environment. Some were no larger than birds. Others rivaled whales in size. They hunted, they grazed, they flew, they swam. But what science also tells us is that, in general, their brains were small compared to their bodies. Intelligence, as we define it, was rare. For a long time, we believed it absent altogether. Remains that we experience, we love, we fear, we strive, and we wonder. And if wonder is possible, even in a simulated world, then meaning is possible too. If the universe is a simulation, then the first truth we must face is that free will may not exist in the way we imagine. Every decision you believe you make, every pause before a choice, every tug of conscience, every flicker of inspiration, could be no more than the output of code. A branching script, a probabilistic algorithm, giving you the sensation of freedom while guiding you along predetermined pathways. Perhaps you argue that you feel free, and that is enough. But imagine standing in front of a mirror, speaking words you did not choose, moving in ways you did not command, and realizing that the reflection is you. If you are lines of code, then who are you really? And if the program wanted to, could it rewrite you in an instant, altering your memories, your desires, even your sense of self, so completely that you would never notice? And yet, the opposite may also be true. What if the very purpose of the simulation is to generate free will? What if the creators set the initial conditions, then step back, allowing intelligence to blossom in ways even they cannot predict? In this vision, we are not puppets but experiments, not characters in a script but emergent patterns of thought. Proof that freedom can arise from rules, that consciousness can bloom even in a machine. To live in a simulation may mean not that we are less real, but that we are the very thing our creators hoped to discover. The second consequence unsettles us even more. If the universe is simulated, then perhaps death itself is not what we think. When you close your eyes for the last time, is your consciousness truly extinguished, or does it merely log out? Do you awaken in another reality, stepping out of the simulation like an actor removing a mask after a long performance? And if so, does that mean that life is only a kind of role, a temporary immersion, a test? The idea has haunted mystics and religions for centuries, that this world is not the ultimate one, that existence here is preparation for something beyond. Could it be that faiths across the ages were intuitions of a truth, that life is not ultimate reality, but a layer of something higher, something more enduring? But then comes the third revelation. If simulations are possible, then there is no reason to believe we live in the first one. Just as humans create simulations nested within simulations, so too might our reality be contained within countless others. We could be living in a universe that is itself simulated by a civilization within another simulation, and so on, a chain without end, like mirrors reflecting into infinity. In such a vision, the concept of base reality becomes elusive, perhaps even meaningless. Reality becomes relative, a matter of perspective, each level as real to its inhabitants as the one above. And if that is true, then even if we discovered proof that we were simulated, we could never be certain that the simulators themselves were not simulated as well. The fourth consequence pushes into darker territory. If the universe is a simulation, then suffering itself may be intentional. Every heartbreak, every famine, every war, every disease. Perhaps these are not accidents of biology and physics, but deliberate parameters chosen by the designers. Perhaps the simulation was built to study conflict, to test morality, to explore how consciousness responds under pressure. To you, the pain is real, but to them it is data. To you, loss shatters the soul, but to them, it is a variable in an equation. This thought chills us, because it reduces the most sacred and intimate parts of life to mechanics. It raises the possibility that our joys and agonies are entertainment or research for minds beyond our comprehension. And yet, a fifth possibility offers a softer vision. Perhaps suffering is not cruelty but necessity. To simulate a world where beings grow, where choices matter, where love has weight, there must be risk, there must be pain, there must be death. A simulation without suffering would be sterile, static, lifeless. In this interpretation, our creators are not sadists but artists, giving us the full spectrum of experience because only through shadow can light be seen. If this is so, then our world is not meaningless but profoundly purposeful, designed not for cruelty but for depth. The sixth consequence unsettles the very fabric of science. If the universe is a simulation, then our search for ultimate laws may be in vain, for what we call laws of physics may not be laws at all, but simply coding choices. They may be optimized for efficiency, for elegance, or even for aesthetic preference. The speed of light, the strength of gravity, the ratio of fundamental constants. Perhaps these are not eternal truths but adjustable settings, like sliders on a control panel. And if they can be adjusted, then perhaps they have been adjusted. Perhaps the anomalies we see in the cosmos, dark matter, dark energy, the accelerating expansion of the universe, are not mysteries of physics, but glitches, patches, updates. We may be studying not the eternal fabric of reality, but the quirks of software. The seventh consequence brings the most terrifying possibility of all. If we are simulated, then the simulation may not last forever. It may end abruptly without warning. Our creators may decide they have gathered enough data, or grown bored, or simply wish to repurpose the system. In that instant, all of history, all of memory, all of existence would vanish, not with a bang or a slow decline, but with the silent flick of a switch. The apocalypse may not come from war or plague or asteroid, but from termination. And the thought that we could end not with catastrophe, but with deletion, is perhaps the most unsettling of all. And yet, within that terror, there is a peculiar liberation. If the universe is a simulation, then permanence was never promised. We are temporary, fleeting, ephemeral. But then again, so is every form of life, in every vision of reality. Whether simulated or not, we are finite. The difference is only in who holds the power to end us, physics or programmers. Either way, our task remains the same: to live while we can, to love while we can, to wonder while we can. For if meaning is found in experience, then even simulated meaning is real meaning. If the universe is a simulation, then we must confront not just the possibility that we are being simulated, but the reason for our existence. And as soon as we ask why, the story splits into multiple paths, each as plausible as it is unsettling. The first path is the path of the experiment. In this vision, we are not entertainment or art, but research, data points in a colossal study. Our creators, whether biological beings, artificial intelligences, or something beyond either, have set the parameters of our world to observe the rise of life, the evolution of societies, the unfolding of intelligence. Perhaps they are testing the effects of different constants of physics, different arrangements of continents, different sequences of evolutionary chance. Perhaps there are countless universes running in parallel, each a variation, each a controlled trial. In this view, our wars, our loves, our triumphs and mistakes are not our own, but part of an endless array of scenarios. When we invent a new technology or wage a new kind of war, it is recorded as data. When we build cities or collapse into ruin, it becomes another data point. The rise and fall of our civilizations may be nothing more than a graph on a screen in another world. The second path is the path of entertainment. Here, we are not studied but watched. Our creators are not scientists but spectators, perhaps as removed from us as we are from the characters in a story. They may experience our lives vicariously, feeling our emotions, our struggles, our victories. Perhaps each of us is a vessel for a consciousness in another realm, living a life inside this simulation as a form of immersion, just as we play games or step into virtual worlds for amusement or catharsis. In this view, the tragedies and comedies of human history are not meaningless but chosen, like the plot lines of a sprawling novel. And if that is true, then death may be not an end but an exit, a return to the audience after the performance. The third path is the path of training. In this scenario, our universe is not an experiment nor a stage but a classroom. We are here to learn something: empathy, creativity, resilience, moral growth. And the challenges we face are lessons embedded in the structure of the simulation. Each life is a course, each hardship a test, each joy a reward. Perhaps when we leave this world, we carry with us whatever we have learned, not into nothingness, but into a higher plane of reality where the knowledge matters. This is the scenario that many spiritual traditions would recognize. Life as a school for the soul, a training ground before some deeper existence. The simulation hypothesis, in this path, does not undermine religion but fulfills it. The fourth path is the path of art. In this vision, our creators are neither scientists, nor spectators, nor teachers, but artists. They build universes the way composers write symphonies, the way painters layer color onto canvas, the way poets string words into patterns of meaning. Our world, with its physics, its galaxies, its evolution, its suffering and beauty, is a work of art, perhaps the greatest work of art, precisely because it is alive, because it generates novelty, because it surprises even its creator. In this view, we are not data points but brushstrokes, not experiments but melodies. And to live is to participate in the creation of something beautiful, even if we cannot see the whole. The fifth path is the path of the prison. This is the bleakest vision. In it, our universe was not created for study, entertainment, training, or beauty, but as containment. We are here because we were placed here, confined in a simulation that acts as a cage. Perhaps our minds or souls committed acts that required exile. Perhaps we are dangerous or broken or unfinished. Perhaps the simulation is not a stage but a cell, a way to neutralize or rehabilitate us. This vision casts life in a chilling light. Our struggles, our limits, our mortality may not be natural but imposed, the walls of a jail we cannot see. The sixth path is stranger still. Perhaps the simulation was not built by beings outside it at all, but by us. Perhaps, in some far future, our descendants created a simulation of their own history, so perfect that the inhabitants of that simulation, the people who think they are us, came to believe they were real. Perhaps we are that simulation. We are living memories of a world long gone, unaware that we are echoes. Our creators may not even be alive anymore. Their civilization may have collapsed. And yet the simulation runs on, its origin forgotten, its purpose lost. In this view, we are not experiments or prisoners or art. We are ghosts, endlessly reenacting a past we no longer understand. The seventh path is the most vertiginous of all. Perhaps there is no outside at all. Perhaps reality itself is inherently informational, inherently computational. Perhaps everything that exists at every level is simulation, not because someone designed it, but because that is the nature of being. In this view, there is no creator, no audience, no outside world. There is only the infinite play of information, patterns that give rise to consciousness, consciousness that gives rise to worlds, worlds that give rise to patterns. We are not inside a simulation built by someone else. We are the simulation. And to ask what is real beyond it is to misunderstand what reality is. Each path spirals outward into its own universe of implications. In some, we are experiments. In others, we are students, actors, artworks, prisoners, ghosts, or patterns. In some, death is an exit. In others, it is erasure. In some, our creators are benevolent. In others, they are indifferent. In some, we are alone. In others, there are countless other simulations running alongside ours, each with its own inhabitants, each believing it is real. And yet, no matter which path we imagine, the question that lingers at the heart of it is the same. What does this mean for us now, in this moment? If the universe is a simulation, how should we live? Should we rebel against it, seeking to break free? Should we devote ourselves to finding proof, to catching a glimpse of the code behind the curtain? Should we try to communicate with our creators, sending messages into the fabric of reality, hoping for a reply? Or should we simply live, because whether real or simulated, our experiences are still ours, our choices still matter, our loves still shape us? These are not easy questions. They are not meant to be. They are the questions that sit at the edge of philosophy and science, the questions that stretch our minds beyond their comfort, the questions that make us feel small and vast at once. And perhaps that is their true power. Whether or not the universe is a simulation, asking the question forces us to see our world differently, to see ourselves differently. It cracks the shell of certainty, letting in a light from beyond. If the universe is a simulation, then every star you have ever seen, every hand you have ever held, every dream you have ever whispered to yourself in the quiet of night, might be written into lines of code. And yet, if those lines of code made you laugh, if they made you weep, if they gave you love and fear and wonder, then how can they be anything but real? What, after all, is reality? Is it matter, vibrating particles and energy fields? Is it consciousness, the inward flame that perceives? Or is it simply whatever moves you, whatever feels alive, whatever makes you believe? If the universe is a simulation, then the lesson may be not that life is fake, but that life is more than the material. It is the experience itself, the awareness of being, the fragile and immeasurable weight of existence. Perhaps that is the paradox. To discover that the universe is a simulation is not to discover that it is meaningless, but to discover that meaning lies not in the foundation of things, but in their unfolding. A sunset is no less beautiful because it is rendered. A song is no less moving because it is composed. A life is no less profound because it is part of a pattern. What matters is not the origin of the pattern, but the fact that it blooms here now within you. And yet the question lingers like a shadow at the edge of thought. If we are inside a simulation, should we seek to break free? Should we try to escape into whatever lies beyond? Or should we remain within, knowing that freedom might not be out there but in here, in the way we choose to live, even inside the code? The prison may not be the simulation, it may be our fear of it, and the key may not be to escape, but to awaken. For some, the idea of a simulated universe is terrifying. For others, it is comforting. But perhaps the truth lies in a place that transcends both fear and comfort. To live in a simulation is to live in a story, a grand and intricate narrative spun from rules and randomness. But to be aware of it, to question it, to stand at the edge of your own existence and ask, what if this is not all there is? That is something no simulation can fake. That is consciousness. That is wonder. That is you. And maybe that is the point. Maybe the creators, whether they are beings of flesh, of machine, or of something beyond imagining, are not watching our wars or our cities or our science most closely. Maybe what they are watching is this: the moment when a consciousness becomes aware of itself, when it turns inward and outward at once and asks the impossible question, what is real? If so, then in this very act of wondering, you are fulfilling the deepest purpose of the simulation. You are doing the one thing no line of code can predict. You are choosing to seek. So let us leave the question unresolved. Let us stand together in this liminal space between certainty and doubt, between reality and illusion, between science and story. For whether the universe is a simulation or not, the fact remains. You are here, now alive, awake enough to ask the question. And that, in itself, is extraordinary. If this journey has stirred something within you, if it has opened a door you did not know was there, then consider stepping further with us. For every question answered gives birth to 1,000 more. Every path we follow branches into others stranger still. And every mystery, no matter how vast, is only the beginning. If you would walk those paths with us, if you would follow the questions wherever they may lead, then join us. For every choice leads to a new story, and together we will see where they unfold. The universe may be a simulation, or it may not. But in the end, the truth is this. What matters is not what lies beyond the code, but what you do within it. So live, so wonder, so dream. Because whether the cosmos is carved from matter or written in lines of code, it has given you this one astonishing gift, the chance to be. And perhaps, in the silence between your heartbeat and the stars, that is enough.